taking it all. Diving deep into topics, we'll rise or we'll fall. Every episode's a journey, a ride through the maze. Join us on this path, let's ignite the blaze. So grab your headphones tight, let's go for a ride. With every spin and twist, we'll cut and run and hide. The Prime Directive, where the laughter's alive. Society's reflections, let's help each other thrive. Politics and culture, oh what a blend. Join on the journey, let's set the trend.
I do want to just revert back to a point that was made previously. Speaking of Dr. Gabor Mate.
Gabor Mate, right? Yes. I haven't. I'm. That's on the list. That's this week's
of course.
Homework.
And there is a lot there. That's going to be a healthy chunk of information to digest. Yeah. But he has a wonderful, wonderful point that was a complete eye opener in my opinion. And since we were speaking of the wonderful the one just by the way, just an incredible human to aspire to. But he actually said something that I could not believe. So he says that many of us who are, let's say, going through difficulties, handle challenges differently. And at least what I gathered, according to some of his thoughts, if a person struggles with anxiety, it's because they have learned a lesson that trusting everything around you as being okay or good or stable is not that. And that aspect of anxiety stems from instability. And we can now unpack what you want to discuss when it comes to the things that we can find that cause instability for any one individual person. And we can then ascribe a certain, percentage, some arbitrary number. Well, this caused you more difficulty than someone else who may not have been in tune with whatever it is. And I hate to circle back because at this particular point, I will totally accept if you start laughing. But speaking of our wonderful planet that we live on and the countless species that exist, here is something that sprang to my mind. Are you ready for this? Turns out, according to some researchers, did you know, just because, by the way, I just wanted to say I'm a cat owner.
Okay.
I got
dog owners here. We're dog owners.
Yeah, so. Dog. Which, by the way, a huge fan of animals in general. I'm a cat owner. Don't judge.
And a bear owner.
And a bear owner.
So.
But did you know that cats that have grown up in households, basically domesticated cats, are completely and utterly fearless? You can even see it. They will go after wild animals and they will stand their ground. They are unafraid of anything.
Even to their own detriment, right?
Even to their own detriment at times. But the interesting thing about that is wild animals that grew up in uncertainty are only going after things that they're very calculating. Like, oh man, if I do this, this may hurt me, so I'm just gonna step back. I'm not even gonna bother with this thing. It's it's causing me. They're super precocious. They're super concerned. Whereas a cat that basically thinks it owns the household, it's like, it's
just chilling.
Yeah, it's like I'm not afraid of anything.
Right.
And it's interesting because it is kind of that same mentality. So it's that aspect of stability and instability.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. So Gabor Mate being a Holocaust survivor, right? He actually survived this. Yeah. You can imagine the horror that he would have experienced, Maybe that's why maybe that's why there's people out there on the interweb and on the internet that are deniers of the Holocaust, because it's too painful to be able to see what that was, and then to even for a few seconds to have it like enter your mind what it would have been like to have been on a boxcar, what it would have been like to be Anne Frank, which is why we always read that book with kids, because we want to develop empathy in them. We don't want to create trauma. We want them to understand that not every story in life is ever going to be a happy ending, that it's never going to be. That you have to prepare yourself now for a world of pain, like Maria Popova is talking about, and her beautiful poetry that she publishes on her websites and stuff. But or say somebody like a Viktor Frankl, right? Which is just to see your wife and your children die, and to somehow find a reason to continue to go on,
purpose,
and find a purpose, even through the suffering, even through the horror, sometimes of living, right? Just existing, and yet here and that's where we come from, right? We've come from this past, and then we're enduring it now. Perhaps we really truly are violent, inherently violent. There's something in us, but then being aware of it, but then using reason and empathy and logic to temper that fire in you, as well as the religious. The truth is, I don't care where it comes from, even if it's from a religious tradition as well. Mm-hmm. You can help human beings find like a better path, a more noble purpose, a higher integrity calling. And when you do that, it's incredible that you can find that community, like right here,
absolutely,
on the Prime Directive.
Absolutely.
But there's others that are out there. We're not alone,
We're not. There was something really wonderful that I heard recently. Someone say to me, "We are never as alone as we think we are." The downside, and Simon Sinek actually spoke about this. His, by the way, wonderful communicator, excellent speaker. Highly recommend checking him out. But he speaks of the 8-minute concept, or the 8-minute rule. Please correct me if I'm getting that, points across inaccurately. But he specifically speaks to just having 8 minutes to know when somebody is just having a rough day, that they can reach out and to just say, "Hey, you got 8 minutes? Meaning, do you have enough time for me to just share with you what I'm going through, how challenging of a day I've had? I just need someone to listen to." And Simon Sinek actually talks about this. He goes, "I'm talking about having a friend who's just willing to sit with you and be miserable with you." Not offer you any advice, not trying to make you feel better, not trying to just sit there and go, "I'm going to empathize with you at this level where I'm just willing to just sit with you and deal with this together."
There's some deep hurt going on, I think, right now in the United States. We can see it, we can feel it. We're a part of it. I know I am. So anyhow. Yeah. Leave us your thoughts in the comments once we post this there on the interwebs. I love that. We're gonna call it that from now on. And let us know, what's worthy of talking about in terms of helping to just heal the world a little bit. And it doesn't have to be obviously solutions that are going to be macro level, right? These are daily things, like just an appreciation card to somebody, or how to say thank you, how to say please, how to tip your DoorDash driver, or how to just do those basic things of civility again that we so need to be. I'm not going to say get back to, because I don't think we've ever lost them, but just to remind ourselves of how to do this again.
May I just interject briefly? I have this very practical idea in terms of what kindness ought to look like. And I think this kind of goes across the board. And it's those small acts that cost you nothing, but can be consequential. Holding the door open for someone.
Yeah. Please, thank you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
When someone is looking to merge on a Monday morning, whilst you're running late,
Guilty.
just to leave a gap.
I was so pissed off.
No,
I'm so guilty of this. I was so pissed off last week because we're down to one lane here on 83, and my God. So this, for the first time in 7 years, this has just really, truly disrupted my morning commute. I was in a foul mood all day because I'm so used to my easy 17, 18 minute drive into work became a 47 minute drive into work. And the next day was over an hour. And now, and I'm like, oh, you know, and it's nobody's fault other than the city. But you know, you have to endure this for a while now. And I'm trying to find ways around and think about this. It's even adding more time. And But just to be in line and just let others in, because we're all in the same lane of life together.
We're in this together. Yeah. And I will say something further about that very quickly. I was listening to another podcaster, Beau of the Fifth Column. I highly recommend to check that particular podcast out. If memory serves, if I remember correctly, his spouse is currently running the channel, and doing a phenomenal job. And he outlined in one of his podcasts the greatest generation.
Okay.
And the primary takeaway that I got from it was, why was the greatest generation great? What made them great? And do you know what he pointed out? He said they were the greatest generation because they were fearless. And I paused for a second, and do you know what I believe is true? The question that we have to ask ourselves, who are we? Are we American or are we Americant?
Americant. Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
I believe we are American.
I do too. I really believe that. My dad's tradition was all about that too. That there are those who really can, and then there's some who can't. We know, and then, but having grace for the people who can't or can't yet. Maybe that's the way you want to say it. Maybe they can't yet, but we want to get them to a place where they can in the future. And they can start seeing prime directives to lead them in their decision making, you know, as well. So I see that she's taken over for him. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, thank you. It's Beau, right? Thank you for your service, my brother.
Absolutely.
Seriously, anybody who's a veteran, you got major props from us at this channel, because my dad was a veteran for over 20 years. Mom was in the Army as well and stuff, and I have a long tradition in the military, and of course, being in Colorado Springs, we're a gigantic military base. This Colorado Springs really is a gigantic military base. We have like 5 major installations here, and this community wouldn't exist except for the military presence. We would just be like a little, rest stop on maybe a ski slope or something.
It's certainly part of the identity.
Yeah. So thank you, veterans, for all your service. And
thank you.
Yeah.
So as we close the chapter, lend us your ear. The Prime Directive's calling, so let's persevere. Society's reflections, let's help each other thrive.